Good evening, or welcome back to United TV. I hope you're all good today. I'll be joined later by Helgi. He's just running a couple of minutes late at the minute, but as soon as he's here, we'll drop him in for his comments as well. But great to see everyone in the chat already so far. So I just want to give a few shout outs, if I may. Neil Driscoll, welcome. Hope you're good. Great call-in yesterday on the call-in show, Neil. Always good to see you. Pundit Katie, as always in the chat, supporting the channel. Great to see you as well. Bilal Entertainium, great to see you. Nice to see you earlier on in the comments as well on Rich's show. Cam, we've got Daz, we've got Rich, the main man himself as well. So yeah, it's great to have so many people in the chat already, and actually Luta as well. I missed you out there, so good to see you as well, Luta. But today we're going to be talking about midfield. So this is a topic that we've been talking about a lot recently, but it seems the midfield topic is hotting up further still. We had some first-hand experience yesterday of our main target, or one of our main targets, should I say, Elliot Anderson. So we'll go into that one in a bit more detail. There's also potentially a bit of a transfer tug of war, or maybe two Manchester Giants competing for Tonali and Elliot Anderson. So we'll go into a discussion about those two players as well, and who we might prefer, who would be more suitable, and to which club. We've also got some breaking news to cover as well, but we'll leave that one until after our initial discussion topics. But I'll just drop a reminder to you all in the chat. If you haven't already, please please subscribe if you're new as well. That would really help the channel. And please get involved in this stream with your comments as well, because that's what keeps the show running. And I want to hear all your views and opinions, and not just mine. So, as Rich said, there, special guest is Helga. He'll be joining soon, so we'll get him in as soon as we can. But the latest is the news on Elliot Anderson, and that's Manchester United still have a belief that they are in the running for Elliot Anderson. They don't believe it's a foregone conclusion. I think the main stumbling block for Manchester United on this one is basically raising the capital to buy the player. It's the transfer fee, which is the problem. I think when it comes to wages, I think we'll be able to compete with Manchester City. But I think as far as the player is concerned, from all the reports out there, he's still open to both Manchester clubs. So I think it's really in the balance at the minute. It's 50-50. It's the MEN, Manchester Evening News, that are reporting that United have not given up their pursuit, and they're in high hopes that we will land the player. But really, what did we think of Elliot Anderson yesterday? Obviously, he was at Old Trafford in the opposite team's colours, unfortunately, on that occasion. But he did pitch in with two delightful assists, really. Showed some exquisite crossing ability on the ball. I think I read some stats that he had the most defensive contributions, the most duels won, and also the most passes. So, you know, everything went through Anderson for Nottingham Forest yesterday, and he was one of the standout players. So he put a marker down, showed us what he's capable of. And for me personally, I've seen he's got a bit of a goal-scoring talent as well, which he's shown in recent weeks. He didn't so much in the first half of the season, but his manager, Vitor Pereira, said afterwards, after the match, that he's playing in a system where he has to be a bit more conservative with his attacking. So he can't always go forward when he wants to, which I think is a positive attacking-minded player. So he's having to kind of regulate his attacking at the minute, but he was very complimentary about Anderson and where he could flourish in the future in a more attacking team, as he did admit that it's going to be tough to keep Anderson in the summer. But great to see Kerwin as well. Always good to see you, Kerwin. Great to see you on the calling shows recently as well. He says, Anderson is a pass master, typical Fergie playing. Yeah, he does. He strikes me as someone who commands the midfield. Like, he commands the pitch. He's got a presence in there. He's tall. He's athletic. He's 23. So he's got age on his side. He's got the lungs and the legs to get up and down the field, but he's also got that composure when he's on the ball. Can he pick the right pass? Can he slow the game down when it needs to be slowed? Can he find that killer cross into the box, which we saw to our unfortunate detriment yesterday, that he was able to do that on 2 occasions. So, yeah, dangerous player, and it looks like he would be a very good asset if he was to join. But Luter says the dominance of Anderson in the midfield wasn't there, or maybe he didn't notice it yesterday. So, we're going to get opinions from both sides. So I want to hear your pros, your cons, what you spotted that you liked, maybe some flaws that you saw in his game. So perhaps Luter is saying that he didn't have that control or didn't notice it yesterday. So there's going to be positives and negatives of any player that we talk about. So let's get those opinions in, and we can add those to the discussion. Rich says 2 assists, 90% pass completion, played very well. Yeah, and it was in a game yesterday where it was, I would say, difficult to judge. I think a lot of the play in the midfield was not under real pressure yesterday, you could say. I don't think any of the two teams were really particularly pressing high or making it difficult for each other in midfield. And in fact, in the second half, it kind of became a bit of a basketball game. So players had acres of space, and Anderson showed what he could do if he's given that space. So that was a warning to United there, but also a demonstration of what he could bring if he was in our team. But conversely, you saw Bruno Fernandes he had the running of the whole field in that second half, to be honest, from a creative perspective. Maybe he was looking for that assist record, as we know, but he was able to get on the ball, and he probably had nearly as many touches as Anderson as well, and had a heavy influence. So it is difficult to judge. It wasn't a typical Premier League game. Had a bit of a end of feeling vibe to it as well. But nevertheless, it was an entertaining game. Big up, Berber. Hope you're well. How are you doing? Please check out Berber's channel as well after the show, which is Gaming Simp. Manchester United fan, always supporting the channel. And he will have a conversation with you on his channel with regard to Manchester United as well. So drop by. Old Mickey, hope you're well. Agume keeps coming up. Anything to it? I haven't really heard anything concrete around Agume. There's opinion pieces out there. There's, pieces that say he is a top talent in Europe, a midfield target for any top club, but nothing concrete as far as I'm aware linking him to Manchester United at this time. But I think as the transfer window opens and as players become linked and more agents are pushing their players towards the top European clubs, I think he's one of the players that you could well see move to a big team in Europe. Big up, Niall. Big up, Niall. Hope you're well. And Niall says, I'd pay 50 million for Tonali. Niall, I've got a question for you. How much would you pay for Anderson? If you were given the option and Anderson gave the green light, we'd agreed personal terms with him, how much would you be willing to spend on the transfer fee? Well, maybe you're on the camp that you wouldn't sign him, and that's okay as well, but just let me know. Big up, Cam. Hope you're well. Thanks for tuning in. And also, Emsiki as well says, I hope the board delivers. Anderson is really good. His positioning, winning duels, interceptions, top notch. What he showed to me yesterday was he is a complete midfielder. We talk a lot about players that can defend. Ugarte is a classic example. Someone that can defend, someone that can put a tackle in, someone that's able to press. We hear the term pressing monster a lot in relation to footballers these days, which is a bit cringy, but there we go. But really, we hear a lot of labeling of players and putting them and pigeonholing them into a box. Ugarte is a defensive midfielder. Someone like, I don't know, Cherki or Bruno Fernandes are attacking playmakers or something like that. But really, Anderson has got the lot. He's got the lot. He can defend. He can put his in, but he's also dominant physically in the air. He can slow the ball down. He's got that killer pass, as we saw, and he's got an eye for goal as well. I'm just going to bring in Helgi. So this is our special guest. I know you've been eagerly awaiting. So please welcome Helgi when he comes in now. Hey, how are you?
Hello. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you. I'm excellent.
That's good.
We're just discussing Elliot Anderson. So the news today is from the Manchester Evening News that United are still confident that they're in with a good chance of getting Elliot Anderson. I think it's going to be between us and Manchester City at this point. I think it's inevitable it will go one of two ways in this transfer. But what did you make of his performance yesterday? Were you impressed, or what did you see?
Yeah, I actually think he was man of the match. So yeah.
So man of the match
Um,
in terms of what the whole both sides, or just for Forest?
no, the whole match.
Yeah,
Even though they lost, but it's like we have lots of better players than them. So how much can you really? I've always been really defensive against when people are like watching a certain player that we are linked to, like even the last 10 years, and like, for example, you are watching a center back we are linked to, but they are playing Real Madrid, so Real Madrid beat them 4-0, and then people are like, "Oh, it was shit." There's only so much you can do in football when you're one person, and I think, yeah, I didn't think Forrest was that good, but I thought if you look at him and you were kind of his manager, that and you have like the meeting after the game, like what else can you improve? And I think that this was really much. I wouldn't have any points basically. So yeah, I think he was amazing. And as I said, he's not a winger, he's not a striker. Like how much can you do from the midfield? And I think, yeah, everything he did defensively, offensively, yeah. But it's no surprise. No one is surprised. It's yeah. Um, I'm Yeah, you are a bit older than me, but not much, I presume. You are basic mid-30s, something like that?
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah, a
The
bit
reason
older,
is,
but yeah.
yeah, I just feel like the reason why I said it is like I just feel like he's so Manchester United. Like everything about the character, the playing style, the tenacity, the being extremely humble and being extremely talented. That combo with Keane and Scholes and Rooney, for example, like being one of the best in the world, but still every game playing like they're playing to not getting released from the club. It's amazing being that humble and that talented because you know when people are really talented, it's so easy to feel like you're the star or stuff like that. But I just feel like he has. I would be so disappointed if he goes to City, but because, like I said the other day with Rich and stuff, I said, okay, if he goes to City, I can understand. It's City; they have lots of good players. But from my point of view, if I was Anderson, with even taking my red tinted glasses off, like, would you rather be like one of them or one of the ones. And I just feel like if he goes to City, it's like uh, they will buy a new 100 million midfielder the next summer and the summer after. Also, they had De Bruyne recently, Rodri, Bernardo Silva. Like you would just be one of the City players, kind of. And if you come to United, the fans will love you, support you. um, he would mean so much to us and the fans and the players in the squad. And in City, he would just be like, yeah, it's decent, yeah, good, kind of. So, but like I say, I understand both sides. If he goes to City, I'm like not like what, but if I was him, even taking my red tinted glasses off, like he would, yeah, I would choose United, even though because I just feel like go a place where you loved, appreciated. Uh, but I don't know.
It's interesting you said about being and feeling appreciated because, like Casemiro, we saw yesterday,
Yeah,
he's obviously come to an
exactly.
end after 4 years. He was very emotional at full time. I think he's developed a real connection with the fans. We saw the same thing with Rafael Varane as well. We've
Yeah,
seen the same thing with Bastian Schweinsteiger, with countless other
Mata.
Matt, huge players that have played for massive teams, and they've developed a love for this club. And I think there's something special about Manchester United that we can use that to have an edge over Manchester City in
Yes,
these kind of battles.
I discussed this because last night or not at the night, but when I saw the United game, I was with my friends, and my best friend is a Liverpool supporter, and we discussed exactly Henderson, Casemiro, and what you are saying. That it's amazing how because we said some players are like, oh, I feel at home and stuff, but you can really feel it. It's just PR. But we said like it's so amazing with those certain players that come from Brazil, Portugal, France, and other places. They haven't grown up with United. And I know I'm from Norway, so I'm still a kind of a foreigner. But it's like Premier League and English football. Our league is so shit that everyone supports clubs outside of Norway. But in France and stuff, the football is so good there. So we just discussed, it's so amazing how some players, they come from all over like Paraguay or whatever, and they just come to Liverpool or United because he is a Liverpool supporter, and they just understand it. They just feel at home. They just love it. And we said that bond is so special. I said in Liverpool, I feel that with Alisson, he just really gets it. And I said my favorite foreign player that I think just came in, and I feel like he loves United almost as much as I do, is De Gea. I've almost never seen a guy not from the country in his club, and I'm talking not just United, but in any club. Like that guy would literally, I think he loves United as much as his siblings. It's yeah, I was so emotional about De Gea, and yeah, he did have mistakes, but yeah, I'm rambling now. But it's just I love players coming to United and just getting it. It just warms my heart, and I feel that with Bruno, I feel that with Mata, and yeah, that doesn't have so much to do with Anderson actually, because he's not a foreigner. But I just feel like places like Liverpool, I hate to say it, but Liverpool and United, some clubs have that. How do you say it? Like in a friendship, if I'm a really good friend to you, you don't want to disappoint me because you care so much about me. And I feel like United have that in them, that
It's like a
those
respect thing, isn't
players,
it?
because Casemiro said something that stuck with me. He said kind of like, in Real Madrid, it's amazing fans, and they've always been kind of great to me. But he said like, you have 3 games and you get booed off. And he said like, when I was going through a difficult period, there wasn't basically one negative message from any fans in the comment or in everyone was like, come on, we believe in you, we know you can do better, and stuff like that. And he said like, I've never experienced that. And we almost like shrug it off because that's our club. And of course there are those angry fans on Twitter, but it's like I always say to Rich, you have internet and you have real life, and the conversations I have with United supporters in all ages in real life are night and day to what I see on the internet. Like I always tell Rich, I think it's funny we have had Bruno for 6 years, and I've been to pubs and talked to like at work or friends of friends of friends. I've never, to this day, I've never spoken to anyone that don't like Bruno in real life, but in internet it's like, Hollywood passing. So yeah.
I think Rich touched on something in his show earlier where he talked about authentic clubs, clubs with a rich history.
Yes.
You can put United in that bracket, of course. As you said, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest was the one he was talking about earlier. They're another one. But ultimately, there is a pecking order in football, and I think Manchester United is going to be the next step for someone like Anderson. But yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. I agree with everything you said just there. But there was a comment from Berber, which is Casemiro as the example that modern day foreign players need to follow at United. And I couldn't agree with this more as well, because he's come in from Real Madrid, where he'd won everything. He's won the World Club Cup, he's won the multiple Champions Leagues, played for probably the best club side of the last decade, and he comes into United and wins a Carling Cup, wins an FA Cup, and you think he's still got that drive and determination to give his all for the team, to put in 4 years worth of like graft, we say in England, which is effort levels. Yeah, so that shows a lot that he's given that level of service. And
I agree.
He's got it back from the fans as well.
What impresses me most about Casemiro when he was here, because I've been watching him for years in Real Madrid. I watched a lot of Real Madrid games when he was there, because I'll hold my hands up and say I'm shamelessly a Ronaldo fanboy. So I watched almost every game where Ronaldo was in Real Madrid. But what impresses me most about Casemiro was actually, like I do with friends and colleagues and family, what impresses me about human beings is not how they are at their best, but how are they when they're at their worst or struggling. I think that's what defines a character. And if I was in the club jewels as a young player, when Casemiro was out of the team, struggling, you can see in games he wasn't at it. And he could just shut up, I've won everything, who are you to talk? It's so easy. Like, he's won one of the most Champions Leagues in the human history of football, and that impressed me so much. He shut his mouth, he didn't say anything, he didn't complain, and he worked even harder and lost a couple of pounds in the summer and extra fitness in the gym. And I was like, even if he never recovers and has a good season, I respect that so much about a player in that stage of their career. And if I was a young player, I can't believe Garnacho wasn't wearing how do you say it when you 50 Shades of Grey, when you have
an eye mask.
I can't believe he's not been wearing an eye mask, because it's like he's complaining about a couple of games on the bench, and what have you done? And Casemiro has won everything, a Brazilian national team, and he never says shit. He don't leak shit, no negativity. And his response is to keep his mouth shut and go in the gym and think, I'm going to prove them wrong. And if I was a young player at United, so Berber's comment is spot on. It's that type of players you want in the club, and that's what's impressed me most about Casemiro, because it's not that I didn't think he would be like that. It's just he didn't have to be like that, if you get what I mean. So a brilliant character, and I love the guy. So, but I don't think it's a mistake letting him go, because I've seen people wanting him for another year, and my response to that is, when he's leaving now, the club is signing for is Inter Miami in the MLS. It isn't Bayern Munich signing him. So we shouldn't be having an Inter Miami player in the club. He will be on the decline. Sometimes it's good to say thank you, and don't drag it out too long, because that's the same with Rooney, for example. I thought he stayed 2 seasons too long or something like that. So that's what I loved about Neville. He was just no, I'm not good enough anymore. This is the time, and he just hang up his boots. And I love that. Same with Scholes as well. Like, he was before he came back from retirement. I mean, when he hung up his boots, he was one of our best players that season, and I love that type of thing. And same with Geeks, was so good at the end also. So I love the timing. I love everything. I wouldn't have it any other way, except for us obviously winning trophies. But I respect that guy so much. And
Indiana's got a comment. So he says, do you think we'll sign a 6, or are we just going for 8s? We'll need a centre back as well, in his opinion. But if you were to try and like what do you think Anderson excels in? Do you think he excels in the number 6 position, the number 8? Do you think he can play both? And what do you think Michael Carrick wants in the midfield?
I don't like. Obviously, he can play a 6, like, but I don't. Like I've always said to Richard on this show, every time I think about Anderson, I think about like those K9 unit dogs. He's just a mental dog chasing a bone, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's like Keane and N'Golo Kante. It's just they are just literally possessed by a demon wanting to just run everywhere and tackle everywhere. So I feel like if you put him in the 6, that you would, of course, he would work, but you would limit all his strengths, kind of. But yeah, I think if we think about the long term, that Elliot Anderson would be like the perfect partner for Mainu, and people will go, yeah, but that didn't work well in that one England game. But it's like Keane and Scholes also had poor games together. Doesn't mean they're shit. So, um, exactly. No. So yeah, I just think Mainu's weaknesses is getting around the pitch, being really aggressive and front-footed. And I feel like that's his biggest strength. So I feel like he could be like the watchdog, just killing everyone, and then Mainu could do Mainu stuff. So, but the question was about 6s and 8s. I think we will buy both, because we literally only have Mainu. Because I'm not relying obviously on like Collier or Thwaites or stuff like that, but we literally only have Mainu, which means if we buy only 2, let's say we buy Anderson and Edison, if one gets injured, we have 2 central midfielders for 4 competitions. So I think it would be scary and really risky to only buy 2. So I think we will buy. I think we will buy 3. We have to buy 3, and yeah, like me and Richard's always said that there are so many options. So I haven't heard what you prefer, but we all are like, I would take him, I would take him, I would take him. There are so many central midfielders right now. It's a really good market for them. So I would be happy with loads of them. Like I can possibly think of 20 I do want, but my preferred would be Baliba to be like in competition with Mainu, and then have Anderson and Edison, because Edison is really similar but just lower quality than Anderson, but they are really similar players. So like you couldn't almost make a more similar player. He's just not as good as Anderson. So I think he will be the perfect like cover for Anderson, and I think Baliba and Mainu can fight the other position around, and it wouldn't be like insanely too expensive getting Edison, Baliba, and Anderson, even though it is optimistic. But we should be doing, we shouldn't be like lowering our standards and be like, yeah, okay, we can take, I don't know, Collier back from loan or something. Like we should be doing that. So yeah.
Yeah, you know how Bruno played in the first half of the season, where he was playing in that central midfield. That's
Yes.
where I think Anderson, if you dropped him into that position, I think he does that just as well as Bruno Fernandes. I think
Better.
Bruno was exceptional, but I think Anderson could come in and play like a similar role to that.
Yeah. I agree, and a really niche thing that I look forward to, but I don't want to be too excited if we don't get him. But it's just maybe a me thing. But one thing I do love almost most about Anderson, except for all the stuff that he's obviously so good at, but it's just the way he whips the ball, like
Mm.
the actual angle off his foot. So it's really geeky, but I just love his crosses and the bend it has to it. It kind of reminds me of Ward-Prowse. Like they really both use so much of the inside and not like wrist and they are so inside swinging, and I just him and Sesko is but yeah, I have to keep in mind, like I said it to Rich, that I can't be too focused on Anderson and be disappointed if we don't get him, because it's like there's so many good midfielders out there, but it's just the thought of him with Mainu and just his crosses and his tenacity with Bruno, it really gives you some water in the mouth. But yeah.
You know what you were talking about there with regard to his technique when he's crossing the ball.
Yeah.
Like, you're probably going to kill me for this, and probably
Okay.
some of the guys in the chat will as well. But
That's
it
good.
reminded me of his technique is similar to Steven Gerrard when he's playing those cross balls
Yeah,
into the
no.
box. That's the vibes I was getting yesterday.
Yeah, that's actually not a. They both, yeah, I can see that, because I felt like Beckham, he used so much air on it, but I loved his crosses, but it was just different. But like I said with the Prowse, and like you say with Gerard, they use so much of the inside, so it kind of, they don't have so much air on it. It kind of stays in the same and just slowly dips right before it. It's really interesting to just see different types of techniques on the, and I usually think, like, we have had horrible crosses the last 13 years of the ball, like our fullbacks, our wingers, they just use too much air, so it always gets like headed easily. Like, when you do the warm up and you're a defender and you have the coach just put one of the coaches just putting in easy corners for them to go and head. I feel like that's the type of the crosses we usually put in, except for maybe Bruno.
It's like the catching
Yeah,
practice crosses.
100%. It's just the easiest. So yeah, who of each would instruct? Yeah, I think yeah. One thing also, are we a bit too obsessed with the 6s and 8s? Isn't it possible to have two? How do you say it? 7, if you put those two in the middle, and they just, as a partnership, has that gone? Is that not possible in football anymore? Like, I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Isn't it possible? Like, yeah, but who of Mainu and Anderson has to be the 6? Isn't it possible that, like, now Anderson is up, so Mainu stay down, and then they? I don't know. Are we too obsessed? Are we all Eric Ten Hag? I don't know.
I personally I like a balance in midfield. So, when you had like Keane and Scholes, you'd have
Exactly.
one go forward, but then in the next phase of play, they'd maybe swap, and one would get a rest and sit deeper, and so you kind of
Yes,
interchange, and there's a
I
partnership where
agree.
you can both do a bit of both. So I think, like, between Mainu and Anderson, I could see them both taking turns in that kind of role.
Yeah,
And they can both excel in either position, in my opinion.
I agree.
So yeah, that would be my answer to Emski's question.
And I saw we deserve better, like 30 comments ago. He said if we would be tempted by Lewandowski.
I starred it. I put it on the pinned comments.
Okay. Yes, I would. And I know but we tried this before, kind of Cavani, Ronaldo, Ibrahim. I know, and I've also said that, but it's just okay. Let me put it this way, in a very simple way. I would take Welbeck. I would almost take Igalo out of retirement. We need backup striker. We need a backup striker. And if our backup striker is one of the best that's ever existed on human earth, I would take it for a season or two. I just think we have far too much young players at the club. And when we talked about Casemiro and, how do you say it, recovery, professionality, taking care of themselves, Lewandowski is even higher than Casemiro. Lewandowski is right beneath Cristiano Ronaldo. He is fit. He is fit.
He's up there with like Ryan Giggs used to be.
Yes, exactly. So yes, I would take him. Yes, I think he would be such a good role model for not only just Sesko as like giving him tips and tricks, but the entire squad of just But like people say, Inos have this weird age rule, which I completely disagree with. I agree with us not just buying lots of finished players, but it's a balance. It's like when they talk about Bruno Guimaraes, one of the best midfielders in the world, being too old and he's 28 or 29. I just find it ridiculous. Like it kind of, I see the thinking of the future, like buying young players, but to have a chance in the future, you also have to have the now. We can't have 20, 23-year-olds. So yeah, would you take him? I understand if you wouldn't, but
I would take Lewandowski. I would give him a year.
yeah,
It's is he going to accept a year contract? I'm not sure. So if it was 2 years,
good point.
no, I'm not
Good
sure I
point.
would give him a 2 year just because he is
No,
that
I
bit
agree.
older.
I agree.
But I would definitely take Welbeck because he's improved with age. I think he's better now than he was 10 years ago.
100%.
Um,
100. I almost feel bad for him because if he was this, he could be wow.
it's also Sesko. He's had what 3 or 4 spells with injuries this season, and we've only had a 40-game season. So if he's missed, say, 10 games, 25% of the season, if that happens again next year, then we can't go into the season with Xerxes as a backup striker again. It's just we just can't because
a back of 9.5.
he's not the man.
Yeah, I agree, and yeah, it's we can't be doing the same as with Hoyland, and like if you really deep into it, we haven't had that much like strikers. Like we played with Weghorst every 90 minutes for 6 months on striker. Weghorst 6 months at United. We've had Igalo. We've had so many weird strikers because we basically only have one striker at whichever time. Different strikers, like when we had Lukaku, we had Martial, but at the time Martial was kind of a left winger. So it was like weird. We can't destroy Sesko because I've said it earlier on this show, but one thing I can guarantee you is that water is wet and Sesko won't be amazing every game of the season next season and not injured. So yeah, it's not even about Sesko. Like Manchester United can't go into a season having one striker point blank, even if it was Cristiano Ronaldo prime or Drogba prime. We can't have one striker. That's ridiculous. So yeah.
We've got recent evidence of it working as well. The Cavani transfer, it worked well until we brought in Ronaldo. Ibrahimovic worked really well until he
Yes.
had his unfortunate injury, which that can happen to anyone. There was a question from We Deserve Better again. Oh no, sorry, I've lost the comment.
Do you remember the question?
No. But Gregory, thank you for the comment. Says Xerxes is a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. He must go. It's a shame he didn't get his send-off goal at Old Trafford. He came close, didn't he? But
it was so picturesque of his time.
It's him in a nutshell.
Like I said last night to my friend, that chance at the end?
Yep.
I said the first one annoys me, like annoys the hell out of me. The first shot, okay? It's just, I get he's trying to place it, but it's just so, okay? But the second shot, dude, I stood up in my living room and screamed at the television because that's not that was just not even trying. Like, when you have the ball rolling to you, that's how you want in training practice. When you shoot, they roll the ball to you and you can just shoot as hard as you can. He got the ball like perfectly rolling to him, and it's just so lethargic. I got really angry because if I talked to him afterwards, I would say like, "What's your excuse?" And I know he couldn't have one excuse because I tried to place it. Yeah, I tried to place it harder than like the shot power he had on that is just not caring. And yeah, we can't have another season of Xerxes. I'm sorry. I love the guy so much because I think I would hire him as like my wedding DJ or something. I would take him to Copacabana on the beach and play beach football, but in top elite football, everything, he just seems like he's waking up with his slippers, his hair is like everywhere, and every time he kind of looks a bit high when he comes on. He's like, it's just like he doesn't seem up for it at all, in my opinion. And I just think Premier League goes too fast for him. I was a really average player, so I'm not going to like slag anyone off on that, but it's not a shame saying and admitting like Premier League is too fast for me, but I could still play in Italy's top division. That's no shame, but he can't even play in a relegation team in the Premier League. It just goes too fast for him, and it's nothing to do with he's a good player, but not everyone is built for Premier League. And yeah, I like the guy. No qualms about his personality and stuff. It's just, yeah, he's too chill for me. He's like championship Berbatov. It's no.
Nice comparison.
No.
Old Mickey says, being fit and being able to keep up with the Premier League are two very different things. I'd rather go back in for Watkins. What's your if Lewandowski came in, what would be your expectation of what he'd be able to do in the Premier League? Do you see him as like just someone that comes off the bench for 15 minutes? Do you see him being able to start any games if he came in? What would you be expecting? It's all theoretical, of course.
No, it's a good question. That's why I like to think about it, because sometimes I have a clear answer, but it was a good question. So I think I would prefer for them to compete about it. I want United fans, like if I got it my way, to be like, we don't care who starts of them, that they compete, because I obviously want a future for Sesko. But if, for example, Lewandowski is in form or is playing better, then Sesko has good to have some games on the bench. And if he was to take Lewandowski's place again, that means he has to be even better, which only serves us. And then Lewandowski would understand, and I would rather do this. And if Lewandowski never kind of then gets up to it at the same, then he can be a super sub. So I think just whichever player plays best starts, and if that ends up him being used more in the cups, and I'm fine with that. And if it ends up him playing even more than Sesko next season, I would also accept that, because that if he does that, that obviously means he's been scoring goals, so it only serves us. So yeah, you predicted Carrick will get the job. Yeah, KD, I was supposed to answer you. You asked the question last show I was on, and I didn't get to answer you. You asked something about how do we know that I would have followed through shaving my hair if Carrick didn't get the job. And my response to that is, you can't know that for sure, but you just have to believe my integrity. Like I wouldn't, like I don't even have our own YouTube channel. I have 50 followers on X. I don't do anything for like hype or anything like that. I would do it. I say everything I mean everything I say, and if I said I do it, I do it, and you just have to believe me. But yeah, you predicted Carrick will get your job. What's your prediction on a top midfield signing? Anderson, Tonali. No, actually, I've changed my mind on Tonali. Uh, I don't think we will get him at all. I will not shave my hair if we get him. I'm not that sure, but I think Rich has hit a nail on the head. He's mentioned it so many times, and I've always taken it with a pinch of salt. He said something. He thinks basically United will kind of stay away because of the gambling stuff, and I've always kind of I not disagreed with him, but been like, yeah, but I don't think. But the last couple of weeks, now I'm completely on the other side. I don't have any sauces, no carbonara sauce, no tomato sauce, but I can just feel. I don't feel we will go for Tonali because like Rich said, you kind of know how United operate, and I don't think they will take even the. I think it's wrong that we don't go for him because of such a small thing instead of thinking like we will get a world class player and surely his problems is behind him because he's playing excellent for a long time now. But I can also see the side of like we've had so much drama the last 13 years, just taking no risks is I can see that. So I think a top midfield signing. You want to say Anderson, but then again, it's just I just feel like I don't know. I don't. It's I can't even come up with the word. I just feel we're not that, aggressive, ambitious. Like wow, going for it. I just feel like with I don't know. Do you get what I mean? Kind of like if we were the old United, I wouldn't have no doubts. But I just feel like we've become this club that
Yeah, I would
kind of
agree.
like
I think
I would
we
want us
haven't.
to like shock us fans, impress me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the one what I would call statement signing we've made that stands out in the last 10 years is probably Pogba. I think that was like a huge signing at the time. World Cup winner. You know, the fact that we'd let him go for free and we were paying 90 million to bring him back.
Yeah.
I think that was a massive signing. But I think all the other signings have either been like over the hill, but still good players, but just beyond their best years. Fernandez was obviously a great purchase, but I don't think any of
Yeah,
us
but it
expected
wasn't a
him to
statement
be.
signing.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's turned out
Um,
to be a great player, but we didn't think he was going to be that good.
yeah, I felt
Uh,
like more thinking of. I think we made a lot of. I didn't think Pogba was the only one. I think we've made a lot of statement signings. I mean, since Ineos has come in, kind of. Um, but I'm happy. Like, and people in the chat will say, "Yeah, we've had a good summer," and I agree. But I promise you, the whole summer I was shouting like, "Yeah, it's good with Cunha and Bumo and everyone. I'm really happy." But it's like if you're hungry and you get a plate of spaghetti, but just spaghetti, obviously you would be happy with that plate because you're hungry. But I want some meat on it. So that's how I felt in the summer. Like it was so obvious that we needed a midfield. We played with Bruno, we had Ugarte, Casemiro. No one could think that he would do as good. Like we were screaming for a midfield in the summer. So I was really angry. And then basically the first day that the transfer window closed in the summer, they were like leaking out, yeah, we're getting Anderson in January. I promise it will be super, super cool and super dope. It will be, I promise you, super, super. We will buy him in January. And then January comes, and then they are like, he's too expensive. We'll go for Baliba. And then they don't get Baliba. And then the 1st or 2nd of February, they were like, we're totally super awesome getting Super Anderson in the summer. So I'm not. So we did signings under Woodward and stuff, and people are like, yeah, but we changed direction. And I agree with that. And I think it's healthy. I know. but there is a middle ground. There has to be a place in between buying Anthony for 90, buying Maguire for 80, and Pogba and Alexis Sanchez and all these. There has to be and Sancho and Lukaku. There has to be a place in the middle of that and buying Ugarte and Xerxes. I think that you get what I mean. It's not like, yeah, but we don't want to be like doing the same mistakes as before. I agree. We shouldn't be just buying names instead of who could fit. I agree, but that doesn't also then mean we just have to buy 12-year-olds from Colombia or Xerxes or stuff like that. I feel like there's a middle ground, and that middle ground is kind of Cunha and Bumo, really good players, but they're not statement players.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I want to see from Ineos now, because I'm there's not much I'm happy about with Ineos, and people give them credit for Mbumo and Cunha and stuff, but that's not Ineos. That's other people saying to, for example, Sir Jim, or I don't want to even be calling him Sir Jim. So yeah, I just feel like everything that he has touched or had a voice in has been really penny pinching, really out of character for United. The ex-players foundation, the not by getting tickets for the women's team while they're paying Sancho to go 3 months to Netherlands for training camp because he's feeling a bit tired. No, I just feel, yeah, yeah. My point is, I want to see WoW. And I said, I was talking to someone on Twitter today and about Pep leaving, and we were talking. I said, like, Carrick deserves to get the job, and there's no kind of good arguments to not give him the job, because they are all, but you don't know. But at the same time, I just felt like Pep leaving, if Slot loses just 3 games next season, like even if it's November, or he's gone, kind of, the limit is so thin. I just feel like, and Chelsea are kind of in the mud and scrambling, even though they got Xabi, we don't know. Spurs, Newcastle, Aston Villa, will they keep up? Will they lose Emery? I just felt like this summer, for the first time, because when we got Ten Hag, it was Klopp and Pep. And the same kind of with those other managers and stuff. I feel like this summer had the perfect moment for us to just, if we can spend 50 million on Ugarte, why can't we buy Luis Enrique out of PSG, whatever it may take? Like, use. So I'm supportive of Carrick, but it just feels a little bit meh, and that's why I want us to do statements in the summer. Because imagine, Jules, if you woke up, Luis Enrique is official, and we buy Elliot Anderson and Tonali. Like, wow. And then Liverpool will go in the mud, and then City kind of gets a new manager. That doesn't work. Like, suddenly we have taken massive leaps on just one summer. So I just feel like it was kind of a boat. I don't hope we look back at this as the boat being missed, because I feel like, yeah, if you were really ambitious this summer with manager and players, I think we could take so many, maybe 2 years ahead of schedule, steps in this summer. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. It's really tricky, because on one hand, I'm thinking Carrick knows this group of players. He's demonstrated over maybe half a season that he's been able to get results. I think performances haven't been brilliant at times, but he's got the job done. That's the most important thing. Like, he has won the most games of any team in that time. So
Exactly.
results wise, yes, he's done a very good job. He's done an excellent job. Can he kick on, and can he bring in new players and get them to believe in what he's trying to achieve? He's worked with this group in the past, some of these players, so he's going to have some of them on board already. But is he going to have that influence over new signings, and particularly like big names? I'm not sure, but I think he's earned the chance, and I think if Luis Enrique was available, and I would like to think we've interviewed other managers, or at least their representatives. I think if there was anyone else available that was worth interviewing, I think we would have done that. So I'm just hopeful that we've done our due diligence, and they've come out with the answer that Carrick is the best man available. And I guess you can only take the best man available at the time. I think the recruitment's the biggest thing this summer for me.
Yes, 100%.
You have to get it right, but
yeah, I said that to Rich, that even though, because some people in the chat have kind of asked me if I was disappointed with Carrick, and disappointed is not the right word, because, like you say, but it's just, it didn't excite me, but it didn't disappoint me, if you get what I mean. It's kind of, because we don't know, and also I've always said, you probably don't know this about me, but not that I was a good manager, but I have been a senior manager, and when I was a manager, I've always said to the players, kind of like, and I've always believed in, performances are consistent and results are not consistent. So that will be kind of my worry, because when people are talking about like, oh, we've not played that well, some of them kind of word it in, I want to see brilliant football, but for me it's more of, you remember the start of the season with the Liverpool. This season they won 5 out of 5, and I
without playing
said,
well, yeah.
without playing, that's an understatement. Like, they were shit. And I said, and you had people going, yeah, but that's the sign of a good team, winning. And I said, this is not sustainable. Like, when that luck stops, what do they have to lean on? And that's my big question with Carrick, is that, but also, to play devil's advocate, I think, I said, I couldn't say easier and better than this, what I said to Rich. I said, but what if he came in and played really good football and won? Like, then he's the best things in sliced bread. So you have to look at it like, you have to be realistic. Like, okay, would you want him to come in January and get us third, or get us eighth by playing really good football but leaking like a faucet? So there is like a middle ground, and also for the people saying like, no, Carrick's football ain't it, and but how do you know? So that's my, like, even though I'm not like really excited about him, what do I know? How, do I know that's the football he wants to play? What if next season, now I get the stamp on it, I get my summer, I get, like, I don't know. So I can say like, no, but I don't want Carrick's football next season. But how do I know it will be like that next season? What if this season was about getting the points and doing everything to win, and just making sure you win, instead of trying to impress someone with playing out from the back and playing tiki taka, and you know, so I would just shut my mouth and kind of let him impress me. Yeah, I don't like being negative before something's happened, because it's like, yeah, it could go shit, but it could go shit with Luis Enrique. It could go, like, the probability, of course, is far less, but you get my point. I just feel like, even though you don't want Carrick, because there's a lot of people that kind of didn't want him also, it's also like, yeah, but I get that, but now he's here. Now what? Are you going to be negative? Or are you going to say like, yeah, but I don't know? And also, the same people like me, I was saying when we got Amram, he's coming in mid-season, not his players, yada yada yada. We will see the real Amram after the summer. I was saying this, and lots of the players that don't, the people that don't win Carrick is also saying this. But why doesn't that extend to Carrick then? It's very hypocritical. How do they know that's? You get what I mean? So you have to be fair, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Just before we move on to the next slide, the photo underneath Anderson there is Anderson again. So he was outside Old Trafford when the players were leaving, and I think one of the Man United fans like jokingly shouted to him, "Elliot, are you going to be signing for Manchester United and playing for us next year?" And he smiled. Obviously, it's just a bit of a light-hearted story, but just thought I'd share that as well because I thought it was funny. You can't read too much into it, of course, but
Yeah,
hopefully it
that
was.
means it's basically signed.
Hopefully it's Hopefully he's basically signed, and
But
we're
I
doing
do
a
think I do think it might just be me. So this is a question for you, but I do think those people, I at least from sitting from Norway, can't do anything. I really cheer on these people doing this, and I even if it's 5%, I do think those things have an effect because if you already feel really wanted at a place before you come there, and then you have kind of this decision, and you think every time I'm at Old Trafford, it's like and Keane and Scholes and everyone is like, oh, we want Anderson. Like do you I think those types of interactions with the fans, if you already feel wanted, has a little bit of effect. What do you think? Is it only me or
yeah, no, I think it can. You know, Cunha when he came, I think
yes,
with Wolves, I
yes,
think he was
good example.
taken with the atmosphere, and I think as a club we show appreciation to players that have played well at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
And I think Anderson got a clap when he came off yesterday from United fans as well. So,
Yeah.
maybe they were just trying to show him the love to try and persuade him to come in.
Agent Old Trafford.
Agent Old Trafford. I'll go on to the next slide, or I won't spend too long on this because we've covered it really. But this is the transfer tug of war, if you want to call it that, between Manchester United and Manchester City. So there's two probably outstanding targets in the Premier League that are available this summer for different reasons. I think Tonali is, by all accounts, handed in a transfer request and they've said he can leave, but it's going to cost someone around 85 million. And I think Forest, judging by the manager's comments, are resigned to losing Anderson in the summer as well. So I think the fee is going to be slightly more. I think they're looking for something in the region of 100 to 120 million. But if we just if we disregard the figures for now, and like if you were just given a straight decision to make, like which player do you see joining which club? If you think one club is going to sign one of these players each, how do you think it might pan out?
How do you see? Do you mean who I think is the most realistic, or who do I want?
Maybe
Or
both. Maybe both. Like, who do you think
um,
is most realistic to sign, and who would you want out of those two? I think you answered Tonali earlier that you didn't fancy him, but
yeah, he's one of my favorite players in the world, actually. But I don't think United will go for him. But I mentioned earlier, but to Rich and stuff. But I followed him since he was about 17, 18. I knew about him and already seen lots of like clips of him before he even debuted for AC Milan. I've always been so fan of him. But I don't think United will go near him, and I think Rich is spot on. There just seem to be, following this club for so many years, you can kind of read between the lines of stuff, and it's been so many like gambling kind of stories about him in the papers, like sporadically, like it is almost like the club has kind of put it out there, kind of some, I don't know, but it just seems suspicious to me that there's no good stories around Tonali to United. It's we are linked to him, but then when we link to him, it always comes out like, yeah, but United sources within the club say that United are a bit worried about the gambling thing, and I think when it's coming from like different places and different journalists, I think this sounds like it actually may be something to it. Whilst and I think they will be on the safe side. So yeah, I think he has to go for Newcastle. I've been saying this for years. Like, what are you doing? Like, he should be starting for one of the best clubs in the world every game, winning leagues and trophies. That's how good he is. So get out of that city. But I don't think United will buy him. Will we then get Anderson because of this? I'm not sure. But I think if we don't get Anderson, I don't still think we will go for Tonali. I just think that's yeah. It's just a feeling I got. Like I say, I don't like speaking like I know something when I don't know, but it's just a feeling. And regarding Anderson, hmm, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going for it. I think he will sign for us because Pep is leaving, and the new manager will kind of assess stuff. What does he need? They just signed Reinders, who was Player of the Year in Serie A. They got Rodri, they got Nico Gonzalez, they got O'Reilly who can play there. I think they will look at other things, other positions, other priorities. And I don't feel like, even if they're City, I don't know what you think about this, but even if it's City, I don't see them like they get everything they have to do. Like they buy this, they buy this, because I don't think centrally is like top of their list. And I don't feel like, if after all covering all the other things they need, that yeah, we can just spend 110 on Anderson at the end just for the fun of it when they really don't. So, and also I think when it comes to that time, I think United will also kind of be way ahead in the negotiations. So this is only my hope, my thoughts, but yeah, I just like to put positive thoughts out there. And yeah, I do think he will end up at United because we seem to really want him, and I think CD would like him, would like to have him.
Yeah, I think my gut feeling is that I can see Tonali in a Manchester City shirt, and I can see Anderson in the Manchester United shirt. I think of like
That's a
the
good
the
shout.
English players that have gone to Man City in that position in the past. You know, you've got people like Calvin Phillips, for instance. I think Gareth Barry has actually come out today or over the last couple of days and given his advice to Anderson, which is think about this decision hard, because you know you don't want to go to Manchester City and then all of a sudden your minutes might become
Wow.
obstructed, um, and
I was
stunt your
expecting you
development.
to tell me the exact opposite.
No, so
Wow. Okay.
I,
Yeah.
I don't think he was saying like don't move to Manchester City, but I think he said he's
No,
going to
no,
have
but
to think about his career in terms of his personal development. And I think Manchester United, he will get more minutes at Manchester United. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So, whereas I think Tonali, I could see him just going into Manchester City and not really caring about that. Just the
as
feeling I
if they
get.
care
There's
about the
no like.
law, as if they care about the law and rules. What? But yeah, you might not know this, but I have like Italian descent, and my first team, like when I was 6, my first team has always been Juventus, and then the next year I got United, and I couldn't stop watching either of them. So to this day, I still watch every. So I'm a very big Juventus supporter as well. That's that's my number one target. I want Anderson to United and Tonali to just swap those stripes for the Juventus one. So that's my dream. But yeah, he's an AC Milan, he's Milano born guy, loving the club. So I don't think he will go to Juventus.
No.
But the hope, you can never kill a hope. But yeah, I think I've never thought about Tonali to City, but that was a good shout. I can totally see that, and I think either way, where those two people go, no matter what club they go, I think they will be amazing. whichever way it goes. So if Tonali comes to us, I think it will be amazing, and yeah, I think they will be amazing
Yeah, it's
wherever
like
they go.
the thing like with Tonali and his gambling. Obviously, I'm not going to go into it too much, but something as simple as like I think next season our training top is going to be sponsored by. Is it going to be sponsored by Betway, which is a gambling company? Just things like that. I mean, it's like surely when he's like looking at the kit, it's going to like prompt something in his head, thinking, you know, I shouldn't be wearing this, or maybe the club takes it off his training top, or those kind of just
Or
decisions that.
maybe that's a. I've never thought about that. That was cool of you to. What? Yeah. Uh, and even if he doesn't think about it, even if it doesn't matter, if he's gone completely about it, still it's United, so it will be a huge thing. So I think you're spot on there. So even if he just no, there's no worry. Every question will be like, "Do you see the logo there? What do you think about it? Are you seeing
Mm,
roulettes when you sleep at night?" Like they will make such a huge thing out of it. So yeah, I agree. I've never thought about that, but you are completely thinking 3 steps ahead, and I think that's not even speculation because if he didn't get affected by it, he could be. But I still think like being in a millionaire in a mansion, being one of the best. I don't think like him walking onto the street in England and he sees like a betting thing, he will go home and cry. So I don't think
mhm.
he will get affected, but I for sure think it would be like a thing, and rival fans commenting on his post because they hate United. Yeah,
It would be a
yeah,
story, wouldn't it? Like day one, it would
yes,
be a story.
everything. If there is something, they will take it. Like they criticize Rashford's shoes, That's
Mhm.
yeah.
But big up to Chris Barker as well in the house. He said he agrees. He doesn't think that Anderson would want to go to City and be a bench warmer. That's the impression I get. He's a very humble lad from North Tyneside. He was only sold from Newcastle because they needed to raise money, so it was
That's
a
so funny.
PSR thing. So that would make it even more sweet if we could sign Anderson and then they just see him walk all over them next season. That would be my dream. So hopefully,
Imagine a Newcastle midfield if they just kept him of Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali, and Anderson. That's probably just up there with like Cruz and Modric and Casemiro. Like that's insane.
especially when you like factor in the money they got from Anderson, they
Where
went and
this
bought people like Alanga and Walter Marder and people like that. So yeah, but moving on to the final slide for tonight. And this is the breaking news I was telling you about. It is breaking news. The PGMOL even have issued a handball apology to Nottingham Forest. So they are saying that the referee got the decision wrong. It should have been given as a handball. It
What
was
did you
breaking
say?
news. This is breaking news on Sky
Did they
Sports.
say they got it wrong?
Yes.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Howard
Continue,
Howard
continue.
Webb has said it was the wrong decision. It should have been overturned, and it should have been ruled out. But this was like the leading story on Sky Sports News ticker. There was about 4 articles on Sky Sports, all with a huge yellow banner across the top. You know what I'm talking about. It's like the number one news story today. Forget all the war in the Middle East, anything like that. This
Yeah,
is
it's
the
like
major
Princess
story.
Diana is dying. United got a decision with them that they didn't deserve.
Yeah.
Um,
And in fact, we've had nine decisions go against us incorrectly this year, and this is one that went in our favour. Yes, I think that's up for debate. But yeah, there's been like a huge reaction to this. I just wanted to get like first of all your opinion on whether you thought it was a handball at the time, or whether you think it's a handball now, or what's your overall feeling, and then I'll throw that one out to the chat as well afterwards.
yeah, uh, you know, um, I respect everyone's opinion, but yeah, for me that's I'm not going to say I've never seen a clearer handball, but if that was against United and another team in a even if in a pointless game got that, I would call it one of the worst decisions because I'm sorry, and like I said, if lots of people don't think it's handball, I respect that. I'm not right. I'm not the standard, but it's just yeah. The thing for me is I think his hand is in a natural position there, by the way. But the fact that that ball is kind of there, and after you're done with training, you kind of put the ball under your arm and you go. Do you know what I mean? It literally kind of stops there. Like it's an
It
English
was
word you use that I love. It's called something in V about speed. Velocity. Velocity. It sounds like a Harry Potter spell. But the I feel like the ball loses like 80% of its velocity, and it kind of stops between. And his arm is to do that. If you were to replicate that in your garden or whatever, Jules, you kind of have to. Your arm has to be a bit stiff for it to stick there. Because if that ball went there and his arm wasn't stiff, it would have kind of just gone through. So yeah, I think that's. I was like, my jaw was at the floor when we got that because I said, I want the goal, I want the penalty, but that's an insane call. But also, like Rich says, they need to simplify the rules. Also, like I said, I don't care at all. People can cry about it. I don't care because we have been wrong so many times. And I know two wrongs don't make a right or whatever, but I think they do. So yeah, we've had so much shit and so many. Like I remember when Dalot got his second yellow in the 93rd minute
oh
against
yeah,
Liverpool
that
in a
was
cross. I'm
horrendous.
like, no habla español. Do you understand football? Uh, and one of the worst, like when Arsenal literally like American football kind of just shoved Baindy into the goal in the first game of the season. The last game of Ten Hag with the Delict thing, that's criminal. So I could go on, but I think we've been wronged so many times that I'll take that any day of the week. I'll say it's not a penalty, but we deserve it. Like people always say, it evens out at the end of the season. It don't. It really don't. And then people go, why do you say that? And I say, go to Google, go search how many red cards does Arsenal have this season? How many penalties received has Arsenal this season? No, Helgi, I don't want to do that right now because I'm in the stream here enjoying it. Okay, I can tell you 0. 0 for the first time in Premier League history. 0 red cards, 0 penalties. And when they have been basically, I'm not going to use that graphic word, violating the goalkeepers to every opponent, 50% of the goals getting scored by literally breaking the rules and making free kicks. And they always get it approved. Like everything they do is just, you can just literally bring on Mike Tyson from the bench and just kick and just punch the goalkeeper. And they're like, no, I don't see any foul here. And then every time it happens against them, they go and change it on VAR, and 0 red cards and 0 penalties. Like, am I just overreacting? Isn't that insane? Have you ever heard of like imagine that 0 penalties against you in a whole season and
It
0
is.
red cards?
It's suspicious, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. It's beyond suspicious.
And there's a couple of ways you could look at it. One is like they get favourable decisions, which that may or may not be true. The other way to look at it is they spend most of the time in the other in the other areas of the pitch. They've been controlling games quite well this season. And I think people used to say the same about United as well. You know, you'd never get a penalty at Old Trafford. Well, yeah, that's because 90% of the game wasn't in our box. But
yeah, but it's true because we've seen the games. So we've seen how many penalties they have made, which are clear penalties, which they didn't get. So I understand your point, but when I've seen the Arsenal games as well and the decisions, it's like, because it was like Chelsea that one season when when they had like basically half of the season was clean sheet and stuff. So I understand your point, but it's just when you have seen the Arsenal games and you've seen the insane things they have gotten away with, like did you see the Gabriel thing on Haaland?
Yes.
I promise you, I don't know about you. That's the first time with or without VAR, so before VAR. I've never seen any player being able to do that one time in my career and not get a red card, like not even in a preseason game in Asia.
Yeah.
That's because I've seen people like go head to head and kind of a little bit and then both get yellow. That I've seen. But he does this like really hard and stretches out his neck like a giraffe. Like it's so.
There was no doubt about that, was there?
It was crazy. So I could go on and on, but Arsenal, it's not like they have been disciplined or have been really. Yeah, no. I'm not. Yeah.
Well, so the rules that I've got on the screen here, these are the IFAB rules. So one of these has to be true for it to be considered a handball. So was there deliberate intent? No, I would say.
No.
Oh, that'd be my assessment. Point 2 is the body is unnaturally bigger and not the result of their body moving fairly as part of play. I would say it was moving fairly as part of play because he was adjusting to try and get to the ball, which took a slight deflection off the defender, very slight deflection. But then Mbeumo has got to react to it. He's brought his thigh up. It's come off his thigh and caught his arm. I don't think there's anything unnatural about that.
No.
And thirdly, if the ball comes off the hand or an arm and directly or immediately results in a goal, which it didn't. There was probably 3 or 4 seconds after that happened before it was a goal. So I don't think any of those are true. What is not a handball is what I think the referees made the decision on is, does he play the ball with another part of their body first and then bounce onto their hand or arm? Yes, is the answer. Okay. I would say by the letter of the law, the way I interpret it, I think that's the correct decision. However, I play football and I know that's a handball.
Yes.
That's a handball. And you see Cunha, after they score, he didn't even celebrate because he knew
and he would celebrate everything and then be angry afterwards. Like, you know, if you kind of score and it's like you basically know it's not a goal, I think he would over celebrate. So he would, oh, are you serious afterwards? Because he's a smart guy. And it was even beyond that. He didn't even do that. So
he was embarrassed. He was too embarrassed.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. Like, I agree with every opinion you made and about each of those points. And by the letter of the law, they did correctly. So I agree. But if that's not a handball, like you say, we play football, like in no stratosphere ever would I be like, yeah, 50-50 if we conceded a decision like that. You can't be like, basically he didn't stop the ball fully, but like imagine, yeah, you know, yeah, it's I don't got so much to say about it because it's so obvious to me. It's like, yeah,
I'm not sure. The thing that I'm confused about, like, obviously I'll take it because, you know, we've had bad decisions against us. I feel a bit like sorry for Nottingham Forest. I don't think they deserve that. But the thing is, what if Howard Webb has come out and said it was the wrong decision? On what basis is it the wrong decision? Because the rules are the rules, and if you go by the rules, then it is the right decision. So I don't know where he's getting that from, and why is it only Manchester United that he's pulling up these like fictional rules out of his
The
ass.
Arsenal thing, the Arsenal thing died. Just to follow up on your point, the Arsenal thing did die out remarkably quick, didn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also, my third team, like I only have two teams, that's United and Juventus, and I can't choose between them, but United is the, if I had to choose, it's United. But my third team is West Ham, because so I'm not like cheering for them, I'm not a West Ham supporter, but I've been brought up by my brother, is 8 years older than me, and he's like the biggest football geek you will ever meet. So obviously I'm such a, I love West Ham, like actually love, been to games, been to Upton Park, and for them to possibly get um, relegated off that goal. Imagine if they spend 3 years in the championship now because of that. And I know the season's long and they brought themselves down there, so I'm not blaming everything, but it's just like, I, I don't know. What do you think about this? I've always said, like, because to be fair, when there was no VAR, I was on the pitch. I've always been a Bruno. Like I'm a big I wouldn't say moaner, but I'm always up the referee's ass, and I hate losing even the simplest of tic-tac-toe. Like I'm obsessed with
Competitive.
winning, and I don't even participate in stuff that doesn't involve winning. When it's like, no, but there's no winners in this game, then I'm like, oh, no, what's my motivation? Just have fun. But yeah, about the referees. So I've always been kind of critical towards referees in my whole life since I was a kid. But even at my worst and angriest moments before VAR existed, I always said the only defense I always give referees, like even if they're the shittiest of the shit of the shit, I always said, and I'm so angry or whatever in a game, I always said, but it's so hard for them because it's like split decision things, but it's done. They take the decision, they're the boss, they will make mistakes, done. That's, and I said I liked that in football before I even knew a VAR was going to be a thing. So just imagine how I am now. I would just VAR is also human beings, and human beings will make mistakes, and there will be subjective things and like opinion. So I obviously VAR is probably never going to go away, but I just feel like you've taken away the kind of the power from the referee. You know, Jules, I don't know if you have this in England, but it's like when you do a test in school. So say you're about 14, okay? Yeah, Jules, when you do like a test in school, for example, you have English,
Yeah. Do we
and
have?
you give the test to the teacher. So math is just either correct or not correct. But for those
Mhm.
things that are like interpretable, if you get what I mean,
Yeah.
we have like,
Subjective.
yes, the most
Mm.
important. So we have those exams that are more important than the regular test. Those that are up for interpretation in Norway, we give those to the teachers. They correct it, and then they give a copy of that to another teacher that don't even work at our school, and they correct it, and then they put together so you get a fair grade. And VAR is like taking the total authority away from the referees. It's like that's my point is, let the teachers teach. So if I give a test to my teacher, if that teacher isn't qualified and have to get a second opinion to grade me, what are you even doing? And also, that teacher would be loosely grading and concentrating because they know if they did anything wrong, someone will come and correct it. And I just feel like referees now, it's like, yeah, but it doesn't matter if I didn't pay attention, or they will probably watch it afterwards. I just feel like we will have mistakes with or without VAR, and it's much easier for me to accept Premier League football going crazy wrong and he missed the penalty or whatever. I can understand that. But when people are watching, like 3 people are watching things in slow motion in 5 minutes and getting a decision wrong, sorry, I can't accept that. So that's what infuriates me. I want it gone. I just want the offside and the goal line. That's it.
Yeah, and they're the two things that kind of work. Well, the goal line technology has been brilliant,
Yeah,
apart from when Aston Villa
fantastic.
scored and avoided relegation because of a ghost goal. Like, it didn't work on that one occasion, but apart from that, it has worked flawlessly. The offsides, I think, at times, I think offside's just a tricky situation to deal with, regardless of what technology you
Where you
use
stop
and
it.
whatever. Exactly. So
Yeah, but
it's there is a definitive answer though. Like, it's either a offside or it's not.
yeah, but
I
like you
think they could.
say, we've seen so many times that it depends so much of where they.
I think
But
that the rules need tweaking. I would say to get it right.
yeah,
But okay, just before, are you good for another maybe 5 minutes?
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
It's just my computer is like gets so hot that my AirPods and my camera just turns on off for 5 seconds sometimes, and
Okay.
it's really annoying.
Um, so the big breaking news, by the looks of it, and thanks everyone in the comments for getting this in, is that Pep is going to be leaving at the end of the season. Have you seen that story in the chat there? And what's your thoughts on that?
Uh, no, I've been expecting. I've been saying it for about 6 months. Not to be like I said it for 6 months. I've just been said it for 6 months. Uh, because I've been kind of suspicious about it. Like, but what really confirmed it to me was when it was leaked that from both. It was leaked from both. Not leaked. Reported by both Ornstein, Romano, and all the in January that it has been bad. How do you say, bad vibes in the board of Chelsea because Maresca had talked to City, and I
Mhm.
thought, give me one other reason for why City are calling a Chelsea manager that has worked at the club before in January, like in January when he still has a Chelsea job in December, other than like, is it to send him a bottle of wine? Like, what other reason? So in my head, that confirmed me, because when that happened, I was like, I don't care what anyone else says. Pep is leaving in the summer. Like, why would City ring around and call managers? Because they're a well-driven club. I hate to say it, but they actually prepare for what if, and so that made me think. And also his demeanor has been really fun, giddy. Like, yeah, if we win the league, like, yeah, we just enjoy it. Yeah, he's been really fun and chill, and not that intense and crazy and angry and obsessive and weird that he has been. He's been really like, yeah, I love all my players. Oh, Bernardo Silva, brilliant guy. And it's just a vibe I'm getting. Like, this is a guy just wanting to enjoy his last time, not be moaning and angry. So yeah, and what I said in the start of the show, I just feel like we missed the boat. Not that Carrick can't be like, we can win Premier League and Champions League with him. I'm not saying it's impossible, but yeah, that's kind of my opinion on Pep leaving. It's just when all of those are gone, it's just like, I don't care if Luis Enrique is available. Like, make him available. Like, at least, what can we do? Is there anything we can do? And he's like, no. Then okay, fine. But yeah, and also like the World Cup managers. I think, in my opinion, people have been too hung up. Like, they're at the World Cup. But my point argument would be, yes, we're going to lose. Like they're going to come in a bit later, but it's a bit 2-3 weeks that we miss with them in what 3 years. Like in the grand scheme of things, it's not so yeah. But City has like my nan could probably manage City and do well next season, and my nan's been dead for about 10 years. So
In a
yeah,
bizarre way, I think with it being the World Cup, if the manager was in the door early in the summer, does it really make much difference? Because the players are not going to be there. So I'm not sure it matters that much
exactly.
this year, but I would think it must have some kind of impact. That going back to Pep on the decision of incoming players, obviously Anderson, Tonali, etc. Like in my first instinct is, oh, that's going to be a negative for them because there's a bit of uncertainty now. Pep's not there. Are City going to continue to be this dominant force? But then on the other hand, I think now that if we think Maresca's coming in or someone else, the way that Pep kind of pigeonholes players into positions, like Jack Grealish came in as a very creative player and he was made to play a very specific way, and it stifled him. Anderson now, if he comes into Man City, maybe he's not going to be put in this box by Pep Guardiola. Maybe he's going to get freedom to express himself. So I think it could work both ways. That's my view on, players that are wanting to join Man City. They may actually see it as a positive thing, as well.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree with everything you say. So yeah, yeah. I do think they lose a little bit of a pull. Yeah, I think it's beyond the favorites, by the way. So I think yeah, it's if they have called him in December and the way Pep was always speaking about him the second he left City and when he got to Chelsea, Pep was like, Maresca is it. So I think Pep has had a finger in who will continue because they like. Oh, 2 seconds, my bloody cat. I can still talk though.
Okay.
Obviously, there's no world where they haven't asked Pep like, okay, but obviously we are going to decide who the next manager will be. But what's your opinion? Would you go for someone similar like you? Like obviously the heads talk to him about something regarding that.
Yeah.
And imagine Pep meeting Maresca every day at 7 p.m. in the morning when he was at City, talking with him, knowing his family, knowing everything. Like if he has kind of said, go for Maresca, I don't. I wouldn't be too worried if I was a City supporter, to be honest. I hate to say it, but you never know. And my hope is everything falls apart. Maresca does shit. They have to sack him after 3 months. They get in Thomas Frank and they get relegated. No, but it doesn't take too much of one appointment wrong, and then the next doesn't go so good. It isn't that far to becoming United. No, I'm just joking.
No, I think Maresca obviously knows their club very well. Like he's worked there and he's worked under Guardiola, so they know each other very well. I think the club know Maresca very well. They're a big fan of him. They've seen him up close, so I don't think there's going to be any surprises there from either side. So I think he'll do well if he goes there. To be honest,
Every Chelsea play, and also I always look at this superficial times we are in with players not caring as much as they did back in the day. I think it really speaks volumes how badly the Chelsea team was affected by him leaving. That also says kind of something about him, that also they didn't do like super well under him all of the time. It has ups and downs. So the fact that, and he has criticized the players a lot when he was at Chelsea sometimes, and for them, like how they reacted when he left, like there was no manager bounce, like they were basically mourning like they've lost someone, like the players, and they couldn't keep the gob shut in the media talking about like, oh, we're going to miss Maresca. Like you rarely see that. So yeah, I think City is good, but I don't want it to be. I want to, yeah. But yeah, it will be funny to see where Pep goes. That's another thing. My dream is Italy or Juventus, but I have to live in the real world. But my good, I would love that. But yeah,
I think he might retire. I think he might just call it a day, and that's my initial reaction to Pep
I don't
Guardiola.
disagree. I don't disagree.
I'm
And
just
come
gonna,
back, by the way.
yes, yeah, he could be tempted.
Go to a psychologist for about 7 years. Manage those scratches on his head. And taking some medicine to calm down, and I will think he will be back, like Arnold Schwarzenegger said famously. So
He might come back with like a turkey hair transplant or something like that.
Galatasaray coach.
That's where he's going. Yeah, he's going to Galatasaray. He's going to come back with a full head of hair. I'm just going to just bring up this final comment, and then we'll call it a night. But We Deserve Better, I think, makes a good point here. He says he thinks that Maresca will go to City and take Enzo with him. So that's a new dynamic in the midfield discussions we've been having. You know, if Manchester City replace Rodri with Enzo in midfield, then maybe they don't need Anderson. Maybe they don't need Tonali. So again,
Didn't he write a new contract?
Who, Enzo?
Rodri.
I'm not sure.
He is, I think it's really close to extending. And I also think, because it's not a bad shout, and also City have a good like history with Argentine players, you know. But the thing speaking against this, I think I wouldn't be going anywhere if I was Enzo, because you're the captain of Chelsea, and now you got one of the best sitting midfielders as a manager. So having Xabi Alonso, I think he can take him to the next level, because there are much more similarities than differences between those two. And I think Enzo probably have watched a lot of Real Madrid growing up, and you know they are much younger than us two, those players. And so they have like grown up with Xabi Alonso, you know, at Real Madrid. Yeah, I was thinking Spain also, but is that a bit too obvious? I don't feel Pep would do that. But that's just maybe the Italian roots playing like, come on, revive the Giants, please.
I'm not sure how. So Pep Guardiola is known for being very intense. Like he lives football 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. And I just don't think international football would be enough for him, because you've got long periods without football, you know, months at a time without having to do anything really.
Agree.
Other than watch football. And I don't know. I just don't think it would satisfy him.
I just laughed because your point is like, I've never thought about this, but the picture I got in my head is like literally the months between, when there's no like of him like in a straight jacket in a padded room, just like, because he has so many, like he can speak to players, he can. So yeah, that's a good point actually. Like I never thought about that, but yeah, you make a good point. Yeah, maybe it's not made for international, because I like you say, I think he would almost have to have two jobs, like take another like low team to do something in between. Like I agree with you. Like yeah,
maybe he could like go and work in a supermarket part-time and then do international job on the side or something.
What job would you see him have if he was never like, if you just watch him? Like
I think he would be like a car salesman. He would spend all day trying to get people in through the door and sell them luxury cars.
Oh, I promise you, this is spoilers.
But yeah, Helge, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on tonight. giving up your
Thank you
time.
as well.
It's been a really interesting conversation. Lots of good topics we've covered, lots of great opinions you've given, and also
Likewise.
thank you. And yeah, it's been a few weeks since we've been on the show together, so it was just nice to catch up as well.
I agree.
But as well, I just want to say thank you to everyone in the comments. Like, your comments throughout the show have been good, and
Brilliant.
obviously give a new angle and perspective, and also we get to understand your opinions on things as well. So that's always good. But there's too many people to name everybody. But Stephanie, We Deserve Better, Mickey, Lucky Singh, Rich, Ollie Biscuit Barrel, Coyote, Neil was in earlier. We've had Niall. The list: Don in Spain, Lucky Singh, We Deserve Better. There's so many. I can't name you all, but thank you so much for tuning in. And if you haven't done already, please remember to hit that like button on the way out, and subscribe if you're new. But Rich will be back tomorrow, so we'll all tune into that show and see you again next time. So thank you so much.